Hello everyone, my name is Hugo and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do hopefully a short video, but I can't make any promises. But I'm gonna do a review discussion-ish thing about this book, and it is Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. It's the first book I ever read by Neil Gaiman, and now I really want to read more. So if you have a recommendation to read by Neil Gaiman, please leave it down below. I own American Gods, that's the only thing I own by him, but I'm not sure if it's a good place to start. So please leave me some recommendation by Neil Gaiman down below, and I'm just gonna get into the video now. Now, what's this about? Well, read the title. What do you think it's about? It's about Norse mythology, obviously. And the way it is written, he first goes through the players, so the characters, I guess, and he discusses who they are, which I thought was very handy. And then the stories that follow make a lot more sense. Then he tells the mythology in different stories. Now, it's the only knowledge I have, apart from God of War, about Norse mythology. So I'm not sure if the stories are very accurate or that it's really his interpretation. I'm guessing it's a retelling, but I don't know how faithful he is to the original stories. So I just wanted to say that. Then he goes, the way he goes through the stories, he starts at the beginning of making the 9 realms. Because if you didn't know Norse mythology, they have 9 realms. Midgard, Earth, is one of them. And Asgard is the big other one with the Asgardian gods. But there are lots of other things. So he starts with the beginning at Niflheim, I think. And he shows us how the 9 realms are made. And then he goes like the first days of the gods and Odin, things like that. Then he has some middle ground, so what happens between, and then he ends. This is not really a spoiler because it's just Norse mythology. And he ends with, I think he even said it in like the first chapter, it will end with Ragnarok. Ragnarok is like this Norse mythology that is inevitable, it will happen, you cannot stop it. And it's basically the end of the beginning, and then it starts anew, okay? Now I've explained how it is written. Then I want to talk real quick about the writing style, because I thought it was amazing. Also, I listened for a couple of chapters to the audiobook. Neil Gailman, your voice. I wish I had a voice like that. The audiobook is really great too. So yeah, I'm jumping through points I wrote down, but anyway. So the writing style is very fluent and very easy to read, and I'm a very slow reader, but I read like 50 pages in an hour, which is very quick for me. So the style is awesome, it's very light, and it's very fluent. Then the stories. So as I said, he goes through different stories about things that happen, and he explains things like how did Thor get his famous hammer Mjolnir, or how did Odin lose one of his eyes, how did he get his spear, things like that. My favorite story is how Thor got his hammer, but my favorite character is Loki, because he's basically the whole story, takes place around him. I think he's like, I wouldn't say main character, but then again he is. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to spoil any of the stories, because while it's nice to know already about Norse mythology, I think before reading this book it's also nice to know, to not knowing anything about it, so there you just have a couple of basically short stories to read. But short stories that go together, like they follow up on each other, but you can read each story on its own. Although I don't really know why you would do that, but you can if you want to. Then, of course, I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was fascinating, and yeah, I can't really explain why. I guess I just did too, but yeah, I'm very interested in mythology on its own, like Greek mythology and Roman mythology, Egyptian mythology. I studied Latin and Greek, and so that was something I knew about. I already know a lot about it. I didn't read anything like mythos or something like that, but I really want to. But Norse mythology, I didn't know anything about it. So for me, it was just like discovering this new sort of myths that people actually thought was non-fiction back in the day. And yeah, I really want to get more into it. So of course I gave it 5 stars, because if I enjoyed the book, I read it quickly, and I have like no complaints. I have no complaints about this book, like 0. And even the cover is absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. It's that simple. And yeah, I think that's it. I know I rambled a bit. I didn't really prepare it to, but I can't really explain it. Like I said, he goes through the story of Norse mythology in different short stories, which are all like between 5 and 20 pages, so never too long. And yeah, he just explains things like how did the seasons come to place, how did that happen, how are the tides, like ebb and vloed. I don't know what it's called, but like the tides at sea, like you have high tide and low tide. So how did that happen? What is the moon? Things like that. And he explains it through short stories, which I guess Norse mythology is. Mythology in its own is explaining things they couldn't explain then, while using stories and gods or demigods or things like that, so they could explain why the sea rises and goes back down. Okay, so I know I didn't really have a point apart from saying please read it, it's awesome. I gave it 5 stars, which doesn't mean a whole lot coming from me, I guess, but it's awesome. Just go read it, please. And yeah, leave me recommendations by Neil Gaiman, because I really want to read more of his books. And also like the video if you enjoyed my professional review. And subscribe for more, hit the bell, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye guys.